how to correctly align your elements. Like any newbie, when we start designing, we are not conscious of the principle of alignment. As a result, we tend to place the elements of the design anywhere. Placing elements anywhere without a specific alignment is a beginner's mistake. No element should be arbitrarily placed anywhere. Web design is not just about proximity. We have already learned, thanks to the principle of proximity, that the elements that share something in common should be together and the ones that doesn't should be separated. But this is just the first step. Once you have grouped them, you have to align them in order to catch the attention of the users. Different type of alignments. There are 6 types of alignments that we can divide into 2 categories: horizontal alignments and vertical alignments. The horizontal alignments are these: left alignment, center alignment, and right alignment, while vertical alignments are these: superior alignment, center alignment, and lower alignment. The use of the grid. When you design, if you apply not only the principle of proximity but you also align your elements, you create a really powerful unit that is much easier to digest. With the purpose of aligning your elements when you are designing, it is recommended to use a grid. Using a grid will solve a lot of problems when designing. Among other things, it will allow you to see lines between your elements, which helps you make sure that they are all lined up correctly. Now let's see an example and then use a grid to determine if the elements are aligned. At first glance, we might think that it doesn't look so bad, but let's look at this example a second time with more attention. Do you feel like something doesn't fit? Or do you have the feeling that the elements were placed randomly? The principle of proximity has been followed, but let's add a grid and see what's wrong. Now you can see clearly the problem, right? Don't worry, this has an easy solution. The first thing that we can do is to move most of the elements to the left and then to the center, creating an easily digestible structure. Let me tell you a quick note that will help you a lot. Align the elements to the left if your design is in Spanish, English, French, or any other language that starts writing from the left. If your layout was in Arabic or Hebrew, for example, then you will need to align the text to the right. So you must take this into consideration when designing, okay? Let's see how it looks now. Much better, right? Do I have to align everything to the center? In most instances, we tend to align everything to the center, especially when we are newbies. I am not saying that aligning the elements to the center is bad or wrong. It works quite well. Nevertheless, we can create something with more personality if we experiment with other types of alignments. Do you remember when you were at school and you had to hand in assignments? For me, most covers look something like this. What do you think? It doesn't look so bad, right? But if you experiment with alignments, you can create something more sophisticated and with more personality. Something like this. In this example, I have applied vertical and horizontal alignment. As you can see, this has a more sophisticated look. You could almost imagine a line between the first line of text at the top and the last line of text at the bottom. Justified. Most probably you have used Microsoft Word or any other text editor at some point in your life. There are many ways to build beautiful text. and one of them is to use a justified alignment. Normally, it looks great, but not all the time. As a rule of thumb, don't justify your text if your lines aren't long enough to avoid those ugly and awkward, exaggerated white spaces. Don't do it. It doesn't look good. Avoid justifying text altogether. This way you will eliminate those awkward gaps in your designs. Combine your alignment. When you create a website, you have multiple alignments options. You could place an element on the right side of the page and then align its child elements right, center, or left. This technique creates tension in your design and helps you catch the attention of the users. Another option is to simply bring an element to the center, even when the rest of the elements may have another alignment. If you wish to experiment and combine alignments, awesome! But take into consideration that if you do it, you must maintain a connection between your elements. The easiest way to make sure that you respect the alignments is by using a grid. Summarizing, all the elements that you use in your designs should not be placed randomly. They must create a connection between them, and one of the easiest ways to do it is by using a grid again. Even if your elements are separated, some at the top and some at the bottom, you should always find a way to line them up and connect them with each other. Like proximity, alignment seeks to organize and unify elements so there is order where there could be chaos. There is no problem with centering your elements, but when you do it, make sure that the centering is obvious. You don't want your users to think that you just place that text or element in the center by mistake. You want to look professional. Now that you are aware of another design principle, using it in combination with proximity will make a difference. It will differentiate you from a beginner designer, making you look like a professional. Now you are ready to talk about the next principle of design: repetition. Let's go.